From shoving a cameraman to attempting to injure Donovan Mitchell, those are only some of the reasons the NBA hates Dillon Brooks. After all, he's widely considered to be the dirtiest NBA player, and for good reason too.
Don't allow the Pelicans any type of late work. Dillon for three, puts it in. Dillon Brooks, his third triple in 4 tries.
Now, Brooks is the Memphis Grizzlies forward, but the thing is, not even the Memphis fan base can tolerate him. And the worst thing about it, he isn't even a bad player. Well, he's not great overall, but his defense is actually incredible. His offense, on the other hand, is rather lacking. Now, his bad offense wouldn't have been that much of a problem if, for some reason, he didn't think that he was one of the best shooters out there. It seems to annoy his fans a lot, but it doesn't end there. The amount of fights this guy gets into is concerning. Seriously, just recently, after the Grizzlies win over the Warriors, he had a full-blown Twitter fight with Klay Thompson.
There was several players saying, quit talking, just play. Brooks, an open three, bango! Dillon Brooks with 2 monstrous.
It ended with Klay claiming that nobody will even remember Dillon after his retirement. Well, he isn't wrong there, because even if they do, it won't be for anything good. I mean, it hasn't even been very long since he last got suspended. Again. So you probably remember the Grizzlies lost to the Mavericks. He went in for a dunk, and then he thought it was a good idea to taunt the Mavericks bench on his way down. In clear sight of the referee, any player would have been called out. But Dillon, everybody knows about his record of playing it dirty, and sure enough, he was called out. This led to him getting suspended on the following Wednesday's game.
You know, I ended up getting fined for more money than he did, but, you know, I'm glad it's just one game.
The thing is, this behavior isn't limited to other players, and you never know when you might get caught in the line of fire with him. Yep, I'm talking about the cameraman incident during the Miami Heat game. Brooks tripped over a cameraman while chasing a lost ball near the sidelines and went out of bounds. You'd think the first thing a normal person would do in such a situation is help the other person get back up. Maybe even just keep playing and ignore the incident altogether. Well, it looks like Brooks isn't normal, because he felt it would be a good idea to push the cameraman over. This reportedly resulted in some injuries. I mean, Brooks made the exchange more aggressive than it needed to be, at least based on the video evidence, in both slow motion and in the normal video pace. And we all know that's never wrong. He can be clearly seen intentionally extending his arm, pushing the photographer to the ground, and then, of course, doing absolutely nothing to assist him in regaining his balance.
It's one of our camera folks.
Terry
Swan
down there.
Hope Terry's okay. He's getting help.
I would say it's surprising to see a professional athlete act this way, but then again, this is Dillon Brooks. Nobody really expected too much from him in the first place. The NBA stated that the act was unsportsmanlike and without a doubt should be punished. Brooks was fined $35,000. Not that the fine had any effect on him. Seriously, everybody is completely fed up with that guy, including none other than Carmelo Anthony. Yes, out of all people Dillon could have gotten into a fight with, he somehow managed to target the Knicks legend. Well, calling it a fight is a bit overkill, seeing that Carmelo was just too mature to get into an argument with the likes of the Grizzlies forward. Instead, the player opted for the high road. As for what sparked the drama in the first place, that's a very lame comment by Brooks, stating that the Grizzlies locker room didn't need veterans like Carmelo Anthony or Dwight Howard. Those are some big words for someone who can't even shoot properly.
Understand that the consistency the Grizzlies need to play this defense with.
Dillon, that was so easy. He walked into his favorite move at Oubre.
Seriously, who does he think he is? Taking a shot like that, not just any 2 basketball players, but 2 players that will always be way better than him. Let's just say Carmelo didn't consider this worth his time, and he only responded with a "please keep me out of this" respectfully. Of course, Carmelo isn't the only player with whom Dillon has had an argument. Not long ago, he had a fight with Donovan Mitchell as well. The Cleveland Cavaliers had a match against the Memphis Grizzlies, and Donovan's team ended up winning. The best players for Memphis were Desmond Bane and Ja Morant, after making 25 and 24 points respectively.
Conshot with the knockaway. Desmond for 3. Bingo! Big momentum swing by the Grizzlies.
On the other hand, for the Cavaliers, the star player was Darius Garland, with 32 points, 11 assists, and 2 rebounds. Now, you may be wondering why Donovan wasn't involved in the late stages of the game. Well, this is because both he and Dillon were ejected from the game after an altercation between them. What exactly happened? Dillon tried to drive to the rim for a layup with around 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Unfortunately for him, Donovan and Evan Mobley managed to defend him. Well, Donovan caught the rebound but fell to the ground, and seeing this, Dillon went for a low blow to his groin. This was one hell of a cheap shot, not to mention Donovan's still recovering from a groin injury.
Gets a second three, a little side step in here. With a move by Brooks, it was deflected, it's loose, hold on!
Naturally, he was fuming at Dillon's behavior. Things escalated, and soon there was a fight. Staff and players from both teams had to get involved to calm things down. It ended with both of them being removed from the game. The match ended in their favor with a 128-113 score. After that, Donovan addressed the matter in front of the media. He said that he and Dillon had always had their personal battles for years. Continuing that, he'd been winning against him for years when it came to the playoffs or the regular season. The sportsman also mentioned that this fight had been developing for a number of years between him and other players in the league. He insisted that it wasn't anything new. Rather, that night was the end of it.
We've seen it a bunch in this league with him. Him and I have had our personal battles for years. Quite frankly, I've been busting his ass for years. Playoffs, regular season.
And I mean, Donovan's got a point. Dillon had it coming. He's made a name for himself, not because of his skills as a player, but rather because of his tendency to resort to violence. Last year, he was given a flagrant 2 foul after he took a swing at the head of Gary Payton of the Golden State Warriors. In a post-game interview, Donovan said that when Dillon wasn't able to guard someone, he'd resort to being violent. Now, we know he's done that to tons of players, but the audience isn't safe from his tantrums either. A while back, Dillon got involved with a spectator, Shannon Sharp. Shannon ended up apologizing for how he behaved back then. And now, Donovan is called for some kind of repercussions for Dillon's behavior. Oh, and he's not the only one calling for it. The fans agree with him too. One fan pointed out that it looked completely intentional. He declared that Donovan fighting back was absolutely understandable. Another fan said that he understood why Donovan was ejected, but considering Dillon's cheap shot, he deserved to get a ball thrown at it. Another fan agreed that he didn't blame Mitchell for the Miami brawl, since it looked like a cheap shot by Dillon. Twitter was filled with posts siding with the Cavaliers' point guard. One user tweeted that nobody liked Dillon and reminded everyone that he took the cheap shot when Donovan was still nursing a groin injury. I mean, let's be fair. These two have shared a history of trash-talking each other for quite a while. Though thanks to that, when Dillon decided to hurt Spida, he was sure that it wasn't an accident. He threw the ball at Dillon and slammed him down until the two were separated by the people around them. The NBA had kept quiet about the whole matter, and Dillon hasn't received any punishment other than being ejected. And this, folks, is all for why Dillon Brooks is the dirtiest NBA player.